We've talked a lot on the YouTube channel about StarCraft 3 and this title that we absolutely want to happen, guys. You guys can check out all of my previous StarCraft 3 content here on the YouTube channel, but what I want to talk about in this segment of the show is StarCraft 3, and will we be getting an announcement soon? Because there's obviously the rumblings, the talk, the speculation has been rampantly building for StarCraft 3 and other projects, of course, for, coming out of Blizzard. So with that being said, let's talk about StarCraft 3. Will we get an announcement soon? So with that, guys, I definitely want to hear, your thoughts in the comment section down below. But with BlizzCon 2020 being officially canceled, guys, there's a lot of course, question marks here as to what we can really expect. Now, when we say an announcement soon, because people have asked me, do I think that we're still going to be getting a StarCraft 3 announcement soon? If we go back a little bit, guys, I had stated that I believed that StarCraft 3 was going to be announced this year at BlizzCon. But with that, obviously, that changes now because BlizzCon's canceled here in 2020 because of the pandemic. So what can we expect? Well, in the official, update for BlizzCon, guys, that came out, Sarah Lynn Smith, she, put together a message to the Blizzard community and gamers and such, stating that, obviously BlizzCon is not happening here in 2020, but they are talking about, of course, having BlizzCon in some capacity, like an online event, similar to what a lot of other places are starting to do with, with Ubisoft and, of course, the, EA Play and PlayStation doing their thing, Xbox doing their thing, all online, at least as of so far. But she did state that BlizzCon would not come back this year, even if it were online. It would be at some point early next year in 2021. So how does this kind of shift everything? Well, see, for me, guys, obviously, I would say that StarCraft 3 is absolutely, I believe, being worked on in some capacity or another, but this pandemic may have changed a lot of things regarding, the time in which this game will be, announced, released, and things of that nature. And here's what I'm getting at. We already had 2 StarCraft first-person shooter titles that got canceled, one more recently than the other. The other was StarCraft Ghost. This was an untitled StarCraft, first-person shooter title that got canceled. So at the end of the day, when we look at the scope of this, they're obviously, that being Blizzard, they have a lot of StarCraft on their mind. They're still wanting to make things, within the StarCraft universe. Now, the real-time strategy that we want StarCraft 3 to be, I do think is also being worked on. Now, when is it going to be announced? It very well could be announced when BlizzCon does return. Let's just state it let's say they have an event, beginning of 2021. They very well may have a segment there because they're going to be talking about StarCraft at some point or another, and they could very well announce StarCraft 3. And who knows, maybe a StarCraft first-person shooter as well as a StarCraft mobile game, which I think all of us would be fine with if they announced all of those things. I mean, that would be absolutely huge and awesome. But I think at the end of the day, guys, we as a community have to be the ones voicing our opinion here, telling Blizzard that we want StarCraft 3, continuing to kind of reassure them that, look, we want this game to come out, because at the end of the day, they have so many other projects that they could be releasing. I mean, we know Diablo 4 is going to be coming out, Overwatch 2, so when they do bring BlizzCon back in an online capacity or whatever it may be, I think there's going to be heavy emphasis on certain things like Diablo and Overwatch, obviously, because they're already been announced. But there's obviously going to be people who want to see the new things that are being worked on. And so could that very well be, obviously there are, World of Warcraft was delayed and such, and the newest expansion. So things are getting delayed. And so what I'm getting at here is that I thought that StarCraft 3 would be announced this year. Obviously with the pandemic though, it is obviously going to be delayed from a standpoint of the announcement as well as when it comes out. We could still be a ways off from StarCraft 3 even being released. And it's really unfortunate, guys, because You know, I feel like this would be that around that time that we would get a StarCraft 3 to actually, you know, go purchase and start playing. Because if you go based on the first and second game, there were 10 years in between there. Came up on the 10 year of StarCraft 2. So what I'm getting at here is that I think that StarCraft 3 absolutely needs to happen. And I do think it's happening at this point. I believe it has been greenlit, but we may be waiting a while to play it. Because obviously we have not seen Overwatch 2 yet. Diablo 4 hasn't come out yet. Even World of Warcraft's new expansion hasn't come out yet. So they're working on a lot of things over at Blizzard, and that's great. But because of the pandemic, it's delaying those projects and those titles, which means that something that hasn't even been announced yet, that being like StarCraft 3, that is also being delayed. So we may be years away still from a StarCraft 3, but as far as the announcement is concerned, I still am going to stick to my guns and say that the next BlizzCon is when we are going to see the announcement for StarCraft 3. That's just my opinion, guys. I may be wrong. Maybe I'm just one of those people that has just wanted StarCraft 3 so badly because of my love for StarCraft 2. I want to see that continuation of the legacy, the story, the lore, the multiplayer, the experiences. And I want it to redefine the real-time strategy genre as we know it, because StarCraft 2 did so much not only for gaming but for esports at large. And you know, it's the real-time strategy game of our time, and I believe that needs to continue, because now we've gotten into this, you know, the first-person shooters, the, you know, obviously the Battle Royale genre. I think it's important that this is a title that comes out that can continue redefining and giving us more to kind of to take in when it comes to the real-time strategy genre, and they can kind of continue transcending that space to move us into the next wave of esports and such. And so those are just my thoughts. Do I think we're going to be getting an announcement soon? I think we're closer to the announcement than you say, like far away. But nonetheless, I'll be giving you guys more updates as we get closer. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think we're going to be getting a StarCraft 3 announcement soon, like at BlizzCon 2021? Or do you think it's going to be a long ways off? Or do you think we'll never get a StarCraft 3? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more StarCraft 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.